Huh, Spike? You wanna? Huh? Nah. You wouldn't like that, would you, Spike? Hey, Spike, how about we chase cars, huh? Does that sound like fun? Yeah, that wouldn't be no fun. How about beating up a cat? Would you like that, Spike? Huh? Would you like that, huh, Spike?
Cat? You know where is it, a cat?
Yeah, sure, Spike, sure. I know where's it, a cat. Oh, boy, we're gonna have fun beating up a cat, ain't we, Spike?
Charleston, made in Carolina. Some dance, some prance, I'll say there's nothing finer than a Charleston. Lord, how you can shuffle. Every step you do leads to something new. Man, I'm telling you, it's a lot to do. Buck dance, swing dance. We'll be back.
Welcome the initiates to the first open meeting of the Arcade1up Illuminati. Take your seats, get your beverages, and sit back as we dive into the home arcade news.
Welcome everybody. James Hates Everything Saturday night live stream for the 6th of July. So glad to have everybody here to help celebrate the 500 sub show. Can't thank you guys enough for subscribing, sticking with me, and I noticed the camera's kind of moved down a little bit because I put crap on it. So if you give me 1 second, I will put that back in place. All right, well, it's crooked, but at least it's back in place a little bit. I'll worry about fixing that later. So we've had a pretty big week, and I just, like I said, I wanted to thank everybody for stopping by. But before we jump into that, I want to take a minute to put out an open apology to Michael B, Moat, and Fox. Clearly, what I said last week was taken out of context and distorted by a couple people. You know, they say never feed the trolls. I didn't listen. And so, I gave them an excuse to go after you guys. And for that, I apologize. That's the last I'm going to say about it. We're on to celebrate the 500 subs and have some fun, talk home arcade. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today. I just spent the last several hours playing with the Unico Nova Blast. So I'm looking forward to getting a video out for that. And yeah, so let's take a moment to say hi to everybody here in chat. And sorry, guys, I'm standing up today trying this, which is a little hard to do where I can't reach the keyboard. So Jason, as always, the best moderator in the business, is in the house. And Decadent Dave says, I look like a mad monk in the thumbnail, and that was intentional. Haha. Poking a little jab at the people who are claiming that I am the mastermind of the Arcade1up Illuminati, little 500 sub channel that hasn't been around even a year. So take that what you will. Tommy V, what is up? Glad you could join us live. Stock Jock says, ooh my. Hope you guys enjoyed that animation. Let's see. Best cartoon I've seen in a long time. Quentin says, good evening all. Good evening, Quentin. And Brooklyn Menace is in the house. The world's #1 Evercade content channel. You guys check out his coverage. It's pretty awesome. The Evercade is a fantastic product, and he's got you covered. And Goofyfoot is in the house. Obi-Wan James Nobi. That's hilarious. Let's see here. Who else is here? Ritual Dello, thanks for stopping by. Yep, indeed, confirmed the mastermind. We got a little MK kid in the house, 500, very nice. Do more shorts bring in the subs. I appreciate that, Zohar, and I do a very small amount, but I do agree they get the subs, but I'm just not clever enough. I try to do a couple a week, if that, but I prefer this kind of stuff. But growth will happen over time as long as I put out stuff people give a shit to watch, and if they don't, they don't. The Shilluminati, indeed. If you can't watch cartoons on Saturday, then you got nothing. Indeed. Paul Gallery says, "Hey there, James. Congrats on the milestone Pixel Gallery. I apologize. And thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by." And Chris Nooner is in the house. While I watch just about everyone, including them, for shits and giggles, you weren't feeding them. They'll still go after. Oh yeah. It's all in good fun. Look, they have their shtick, and I threw this in here just in good fun. It is what it is. And, I wouldn't have known if I wasn't watching theirs as well. So there you go. Congrats from Arcade Dave. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the kind words. And I'm going to butcher your first name, so I'll just say Uwa. What it did done, do this day, everybody. Hope all is well. Indeed. And Ted Adam Green says, "Hey all." And Brooklyn is 500 is a respectable number. You do quality content, hint 1,000 before you know it. Appreciate that, Brooklyn. All righty. Well, let's get our first giveaway going. And Goofyfoot may remember this one because he entered this one and then never sent me his information. Israel Gaming, appreciate it. Thanks for dropping by. And so let me get this one started here. And let's see, where's our... All right, there's the code. So just type this in chat for enter our first drawing. And while we are doing that, I'll show you what the first drawing is for. So this is Quick Stop. It's the anecdotes from the annals of the View Askewniverse. And it's written by Kevin Smith. And you've got art in there: Jeremy Sisser, Phil Hester, Andy Parks, Tango, and Ahmed Rafat. And a friend of mine is Phil Hester and Andy Parks are both friend of mine, but Andy had agreed to sign these. So this is signed by Andy Parks, if you can see that on the little screen. So this is our first giveaway, the collected edition of Quick Stop Anecdotes signed by Andy Parks. So I'll let that run for a little bit while we talk about our first story. And I will drop this banner down here. Actually, let me... There we go. That's better. Let's see. Which one do we want to talk about first? Let's grab this one. So this one's probably the, I don't know, depending on how you look at it, could be the most interesting news of the week. And that is that Zoltar, after a year of pre-orders, is finally shipping. And if you guys missed it, P-Dubs put up a review today, a fantastic addition to the lineup from New Wave Toys. I, of course, was dragging my feet and did not pre-order it. Wish I did, but I did not. So as soon as these go on sale, I will be putting my order in because this thing is awesome. And I can't wait to get one of these. I do know they are already up for pre-order on Sideshow, if anybody missed that. Guys, if you ordered one of these already, or if you already have yours, actually put a 1 in the chat. And if you're planning on getting it, put a 2, and then if it's not for you, put a 0 so people can see your interest in Zoltar. So this isn't actually a picture of Zoltar, it's just the box. They unloaded the truck and started shipping them out this week. I did see, unfortunately, for 19K Fox, he posted on his channel that his arrived broken. So there do seem to be some issues. The Zoltar animatronic had come loose inside the glass enclosure, and P-Dubs noted last night on Super Game Room Dudes that his was dusty on the inside and the curtains were kind of messed up. So there doesn't seem to be any easy way to open or access the inner chamber where Zoltar sits in order to fix those things. So that's a little disappointing. So hopefully one of these people that owns it will do a little video on how to take that thing apart and get in there and clean some of that up. But in the meantime, it still looks awesome and it seems to work great. Super excited for it myself. And Evil Genius here says a 3/4 scale size would be great. Yes, and it would probably cost like $5,000. So I don't know how great that would be, but it would be super cool. But you never know. Maybe that'll be the first full size that New Wave Toys releases. And Chris says he got his yesterday, but hasn't had time to unbox it. So super cool. Lucky him. He's stuck at work all weekend. I hope everybody had a good 4th. And Jason, of course, sharing the link to where you can pre-order it right now on Sideshow. It's $150, which is a very reasonable price, in my opinion. Would have been even better if you got it for less than $100 at pre-order, but I slept on it. Alrighty, so let us remove that. Enough Zoltar talk here. We're about 15 minutes in, so let's give this. If Home Depot can sell an animatronic Vader for $300 or a 12-foot skeleton, I have one of those myself. They're awesome. So Home Depot sells a wide variety of crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and get the drawing going for the first prize. And let me get back to this. All right, everybody ready? There's only 9 of you in there, so your odds are pretty good considering there's like 50 or 60 people watching. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to get in there. Just got to type hashtag the mastermind into chat. And Papa Brad, thanks for joining us. And David Deming. Jeez, can't read. He's in the house. Alrighty, a few more seconds. Give it a countdown. Here, like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Stock Jock, congratulations. So Stock Jock, if you will shoot me an email, my email, so you don't have to remember it, is in the description of this video. It's also on your screen right now, but go ahead, shoot me an email. Make sure you include your YouTube handle and your mailing address, and I will get that sent out to you. And let me get that banner off there. Sorry, guys, jumping around trying to get all these things set up, so appreciate the patience. Okay, so while we are on the subject of miniature arcade games, let's talk Burger Time. And so before we start talking Burger Time, here is the next entry. So just enter burgers into chat to be entered into the drawing. And this time we're giving something a little different away. This time it is, for those that don't know, I started dropping toy review videos for retro and modern retro vintage inspired toys. And so in honor of those Tuesday toy videos, our first up is, or this prize is a classified retro cardback GI Joe of the Baroness. Let's see in there. So whether you're a big GI Joe fan or not, these are actually kind of really cool figures, highly posable, and in that classic design from the 80s GI Joe toy line. And I did spend all morning today at KC Collector Expo doing some toy hunts and filming a toy hunt video. So look forward to that in the next week or so. And again, enter burgers in the chat for your chance to win, and we will do that drawing here in a little bit. And I'll throw that in there as a reminder. And so who got to see these over the weekend? So this is Numbskull, or Quarter Arcade's latest prototype, Burger Time. And you can see here, this is the quarter scale version of that classic arcade. And these are going to go up for pre-order soon and are scheduled to ship by October. So pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And this is the final prototype. Of course, they put this out here for the community to take a look at, see if they could find any last minute issues with it before they go into production. And I know a lot of people have talked about this one, so I don't want to like hammer this to death specifically about Burger Time, but if you did not miss it, Cool Toy put out a video with an interview from the creator of Quarter Arcades in which they talk about this cab and several new ones that could be coming within the next year, namely RoboCop, which is pretty cool, and Lunar Lander, among others. So I'll save the others for Cool Toy in his video, but it is definitely worth watching. It's about an hour-long interview. They go through a lot of different things. They talk about their attempt to create track and field, which gives you some insight into how licensing and the troubles of licensing. They talk about the problems they've been having with RoboCop, getting those licenses, how difficult it was to obtain the licenses for the real Ghostbusters and all the different people they have to talk to. So really informative interview and definitely worth watching. And of course, anything Cool Toy does, he always does such a great job. So go watch that video. It is really good. And one of the things that Quarter Arcades mentioned is they're talking about doing a whole line of accessories. So much like New Wave Toys has done for a while, they kind of as a joke dropped the trash can, and I have one of those around here somewhere. Hold on one second. So that was fun. So like the interesting thing is, right, so this was the trash can they did, and it kind of started out as a joke. And what they did, they explained, is they 3D printed these in-house and had their in-house painter do it. So they only made 100 of these, and they sold out in less than 25 minutes. So I was one of the lucky 100, I guess, to buy this ridiculous thing that everybody thought was a joke. But that essentially is going to be the first accessory that they release among many. And so, they already do carpet, they do brick wallpaper, so you can set up your entire quarter scale dream arcade. But now they're talking about a whole new line. So, like I said, definitely go watch that video and check out that interview. It is some really good stuff. And Shotgun Sean, thanks for dropping by and appreciate the kind words on the Shilluminati thumbnail. And of course, right now, if you enter hashtag burgers into the chat, you have an opportunity to win the hold on. This G.I. Joe 6-inch G.I. Joe classified retro cardback Baroness figure. It was part of the first wave of those figures. It is, of course, new, sealed, all that fun stuff. It's a fun little toy line. If you haven't seen it yet, there's some heft to them. Pretty good stuff. So what do you guys? So you guys get? How many of you actually collect the quarter arcade stuff? I know they're at quarter scale. They're pretty big. They take up a lot of room, but they're far more playable at that size than, say, the 1/6 scale that New Wave Toys does. But the nice thing that New Wave Toys does is give you the HDMI out so you can play these things on a TV, whereas with the quarter arcades, you generally cannot. So I think they're really cool, but they give you that nice size and they look great. I mean, they try to get these things as perfect, arcade accurate as possible. Pretty excited to hear some of the stuff that they're working on. So big fans of what they do, but I'm running out of space. Some of you have seen for some of these things that I've been collecting. So if I got some of these, I'd probably have to get rid of something else or pack something up. Yes, and Chris is right. We need Slurp Cup competitors. There is not enough out there. We can have our 1/6 scale, but we need a quarter scale Slurp Cup. It'll be interesting. These guys, Quarter Arcades and Numbskull, they're from England and the UK. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with, because it's going to be inspired by the UK arcades. And to see how maybe things differ in the UK versus here will be pretty cool. I'm really excited to see what they got coming in that line. I think they said they're working on 2 or 3 different accessories right now. Who knows what those might end up being, but definitely excited to see what they come up with. Tommy V says he owns a few of the quartercades, and New Wave Toys is great, but too pricey. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is when you're talking about these mini arcades, New Wave Toys is really the one that's the most reasonable. As I think as you get into these quarter arcades, these are $250, $300 depending on which one you're looking at, and that now you're up there talking Arcade1up territory almost. So definitely on the high end, but of course these are near perfect scale replicas. They talk about how when they create these things, they now scan them. So they bring in large laser scanners and they get all the detail, the art, everything is scanned. So their scans are so intense they can pick up dust on the screens and scratches on the cab. And so they are trying to get these things as perfect as absolutely possible to the original arcades, which it just shows the love that they're putting into them. Decadent Days says, like them better than Replicades. And of course, Zoltar is amazing. And the Fourth Horseman says, another streamer posted a video saying that you and Michael B. blah, blah, blah. Okay, we already talked about that. And not really going to say more on that stuff. Okay, yeah, the price, you can get a 1-up exactly. Evil Jesus, too bad A1-up never re-released Burger Time. Indeed, that's one I think a lot of people want. So talk about the vault, open up the vault and release Burger Time with the right controls, and we would buy it. We need a Burger Time Deluxe already, Arcade1up. They'll bring out a tea set. Yes, that would be excellent. Nothing like arcade tea. Papa Brett says the Data East license must be easy to get. Seems like every home arcade company except Arcade1up has a Burger Time. So of course Arcade1up did have a Burger Time, but they dropped it. Yeah, and that's what I've heard, Papa Brad, is that Data East supposedly gives their license to everybody, which is super frustrating because they have a ton of great licenses. That are why isn't Arcade1up doing some of those? Because they have some of the most known brands out there, you know. But when you're talking 80s classic arcades, man, Data East was one of the best. And quality is top notch. Yeah, this is the craziest thing, right? It's also owned by Amazon and MGM. So yeah, you talk about one of the things they go through is all these companies acquire this company and that company, and then it went to MGM, and now Amazon owns MGM. And so good luck trying to explain to some Amazon Gen Z employee why they should release this, that, or the other. Should be loads of fun. And MG says, I can get new inbox A1up Burger Time for $800 if anyone wants one. Well, there you go. That's a pretty good deal. Those were what, $1,200 not too long ago, about a year ago. Needs to be a 4-way stick. Absolutely. And Finn's Baseman says he would buy a RoboCop. I think a lot of us would. That's such a great arcade game for how silly it is. And Ohio Red Cannon, looking at this replica, I think it wouldn't be hard to fan in some bevels on a Midway Pac-Man and reskin it to make it a full-size Burger Time. See, that's exactly right. So that's essentially what this cab is the Midway cab. They just added or shaped out the hat, right? That's about really the only difference. There is a little tweak to the marquee where the edges are rounded instead of straight, but Numbskull noted that's pretty much the primary difference is the cutout in that Pac-Man cab to make the hat. So, and P-Dubs is in the house and says, Papa Brad, you can start your own arcade company tomorrow and afford a Data East license. The classic shape makes it that special, and it is like that. It's like that, and what is it? Food Fight. Those really quirky cabs that make it really stand out in the arcade, make it stick out, is loads of fun. I went around. I mentioned today I went to Kincaid to play the Unico Nova Blast for a while and shoot some footage of that. And of course, I took the time to walk around Kincaid, see what other cabs they have. It's always fun to look, and they carry a wide selection of some of the Japanese titles there. So it's cool to see the stuff you really don't see too often. There was like trying to think off the top of my head, they had a version of SNK versus Capcom that I'd never seen before. Of course, it was all in Japanese. So I don't know if it was one of the sequels or not, but it was pretty neat looking. Jason says, too bad someone doesn't make Burger Time side panels for the deluxe. Exactly, Jason. Where's G.I. Joel? Where's Buy Stuff Arcades? Just give us XL side panels in the shape of Burger Time. We'll supply the game. That would be really cool. And of course, art. That's a brilliant idea, Jason. We need that. Alrighty. So once again, let's drop over to our drawing and give you a minute. Remember, the hashtag is in that banner at the bottom. Burgers. And as previously mentioned, we've got 25 entries right now, and I think there's like 60 or 70. So again, remember, this is what we're going for. You can join Michael B as a collector of the Classified Series Retro G.I. Joe figures with that highly posable Baroness. And I'll give you here, a countdown to get in. If you haven't gotten in already, we'll just count down from 5, and then I'm going to spin the wheel. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here we go. And Finn's Baseman is the winner. Congratulations, Finns. And I lost my mouse. There we go. So as always, email is in the banner. It's also down in the description, so you don't have to write it down or remember it. I try to put it in every video. Just shoot me an email with your YouTube name and your mailing address, and we will get that figure shipped out to you right away. And once again, congratulations, Finns, and thanks for subscribing and watching and hanging out with us, as we do every Saturday here. So let's get the next ones all set up. What did I do? Alrighty, everybody knows that after you've eaten tons of burgers, you need to go on a diet. And so that means our next giveaway is the hashtag Slim Katie. So enter hashtag Slim Katie in the chat. And we are going to do another one of these quick stops. So this is our second and last one of these. It is signed by Andy Parks, as I mentioned, one of the artists, the actual inker on this book. He and Phil have worked with Kevin Smith for a long time on the Clerks comics. They also worked on Green Arrow with him. So definitely get in Slim Katie for a chance to win that. And I don't know if you can, I'm going to pull that off the screen real quick. I don't know if you can see behind me over here. That is a page from Kevin Smith's Green Arrow that Annie and Phil did. So, that's a little lead into our next prize, which is the big one. So there you go. So hashtag Slim Katie for a chance to win the Clerks Quick Stop Anecdotes from the View Askew Universe hardback signed edition. And of course, since we're talking Slim Katie, and actually I should fix this banner so it has the right hashtag in it, right? And so you guessed it, since we're talking Slim Katie, let's talk about the least exciting news in home arcade. And no, not the banner ads on this stupid website. Gotta love Arcade1up cashing in for those tens of dollars. But we're going to talk real briefly, because this subject has been beat to death. The NBA Jam Deluxe Slim Katie. It's 6 inches less depth, so it looks like somebody left off the last back of the cabinet. It's thinner, and of course it's got that foot stand, because apparently it'll fall over if nobody's playing it without the strap attached or that little foot stand. And of course we know, right? Cornercade is going to buy this the second it comes out. He's got to have one of these. He's a big fan of the casino cades. And it was a lot of fun actually playing on that. Him and his wife streamed playing the Wheel of Fortune cab and had the audience guessing along, which was actually entertaining. Probably more fun than you'd ever actually have playing the thing. Certainly will never end up in my arcade or in my house. But for those of you that really want a Wheel of Fortune and don't want to play the free game you can download on the Play Store or the iPhone Store, Right now, Nebraska Furniture Mart has it for $300, so half off. They're clearly blowing it out. They don't want it in their store either. So get get the Casino Cade while the getting's good. You know, apparently Arcade1up thinks the arcade of the future is all the Slim Cadies. So yeah. Like I said, this has been beat to death, and I'm sure it'll continue to be beat to death. But there you go. That's our hashtag. Anybody besides, yeah, the colon Cade. That's right, Sean. This is really bad. And Goofyfoot says Danny has taken one for the team. Indeed, he's gonna pick this up so we don't have to. And he said, should we do that again? I assume talking about the Wheel of Fortune, because that was pretty fun. But that cab will end up next to large copies of E.T. That would be awesome in that in the landfill. I'd snag one if it were $2.99. Yeah, so this $4.99, which is essentially the same price right now. You can still get the NBA Jam Tournament Edition Deluxe. You can also, for an extra $100, still get the Shaq Edition XL NBA Jam. You can also still get the Countercade NBA Jam at many locations. And I think you can still get the Partycade NBA Jam at several locations. So if the other 4 versions of NBA Jam weren't enough for you, they didn't come in quite the right shape for you, you just needed something that was just a little thinner, boy, Arcade1up now has you covered with the Slim Cady. And dear Lord, I hope that's not signs of things to come, because Danny says he would get one. It would be for the community. Boom, evil genius. Yep, on the price. It's at $300, even $350. I think it would be worth it. You know, smaller form factor, less controls, but enough to play the game. Still give you that essence of a home arcade. And that's why, unfortunately, I think this is going to actually sell really well for Arcade1up. It won't sell for us, but I think the casuals, dudes that want this for their man cave or, you know, their sports bar in the basement, I think they're going to pick this up if they see this built in on display in Best Buy. They'll pick this thing up. You know, it just is what it is. It's not so different. I think, truthfully, many of us, if this was the first cab that they released of NBA Jam, we'd probably think it was awesome. But because we've seen what they can actually do, and we've seen a better version, this is just a giant step backwards. As we've all talked about, it's just garbage. And Brooklyn says, you are insane if you buy one of these. All that will do is support Arcade1up to make more of these with other games. I couldn't agree more, Brooklyn, but I think they're going to do that whether we buy them or not, because they're definitely not listening to us. Gingers rejoice, Slim Cadies have no souls. This may be the future of all arcades going forward. Well, all Arcade1ups going forward. WeGovy is so popular, even the cabs are on it. Indeed. Yes, they are. What's the Ozempic? This is the Ozempic cab. It is indeed a sad release, and it's a sad day for this whole community when they announce this thing. And I can't wait for the next ridiculous release if they really do drop this hybrid Golden TXL thing. Oh, it's just going to be an utter disaster. If you put your foot on the front, it stops it wobbling. Yeah, I don't know. Don't make I don't know. They would be smart to make an NFL Blitz one, because they got to like make use of the license or whatever. But I think they're probably not ever going to touch NFL Blitz ever again. But you never know. Shipping costs must be killing A1up. Yep, certainly this should be less expensive to ship. That's definitely a big deal. And if you can, you know, I don't know that they did this, but if you got the bean counters to work and they can figure out exactly how much MDF you're using, and they found for every, 20 cabs they make, if they cut off those 6 inches, they can make an extra 2 cabs out of it for every 20. the bean counters go crazy there, and oh, look how much more we can sell, and we'll make more money because we can get X number of extra cabs and it's going to cost us less to ship. But it is not smart. Oh, sweet. Shotgun's going to be his guest tomorrow. Very cool. Honestly, I'm the only one looking forward to Nova Blast. So I agree. And, I'll talk about this in my video tomorrow if I can get all the editing done tonight. I really enjoyed playing it. So it is definitely, like, for me, having a chance to sit down, really play with it, put it through its paces. Although it's definitely got its problems, that if by the time they ship the real thing, because the one I played is fairly old prototype that's been floating around, if they fix those things by the time they ship and they live up to the promises they've made about this cab, it is easily the home arcade product of the year, in my opinion. It was a ton of fun, and I'm not anybody that has nostalgia for candy cabs, but it was a ton of fun to play on that huge screen right in front of you with good controls. I loved it. Again, with an asterisk there, because it definitely has its issues in that prototype. Big B73, Arcade would buy any garbage they release. Wheel of Fortune as evidenced. I just want the 6-player X-Men, you and me both. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Augustin said, you can fart and this thing will tip over. This price sucks ass, dude. I know you get a discount at Best Buy. Yeah, I don't think there's enough of a discount at Best Buy to make this thing affordable, but there you go. And Ray de la Torre, sorry, man, I butchered your name. Thanks for dropping by and saying hello to everybody. MG, it's $450 for Danny. Like I said, that's at least 100 too much, if not 150 too much. And is Real Gaming, James, you think G.I. Joe will make an L-shaped riser, G.I. Joel will make an L-shaped riser for the Slim Katie? Well, I did ask that on Michael B's stream. I definitely said I can see this in the future, that G.I. Joe will have to make, instead of his patented inline risers, we're going to need an inline extender now to make this thing the right size and the right width. Of course, that logo man is in the wrong spot, so that's got to be moved. Like, there's so many things that are wrong with this because of the smaller size is insane. As Bill said, right? 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Finally got that 2-player deck with the NBA Jam sessions on it, and it is in a crappy cab, which, being thinner, albeit just a tiny bit thinner, those controls are closer together than even on the 4-player one. So it's crazy. And it's a turd is the right description, the turdcade. Alrighty, so let us pivot from this nonsense, because really that was complete nonsense from Arcade1up that they dropped that stupid thing. And let's give away where did we go? Let's give away the quick stop anecdotes from the annals, and I'm definitely going to say anal a few times. Annals of the View Askewniverse, the hijinks of Jay and Silent Bob, and the boys from Clerks, Randall. All the good stuff right in here. And of course, this is signed by, let's see where Andy signed this one. Right there on the title page, signed by Andy Parks. So we got 24 entries currently. So I'll give you here a 10 count or a 5 count, maybe one of those two, to get your final entries in. So we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. By the way, no repeat winners, just FYI. Jim Daniels, congratulations. You are indeed the next winner. Why do I lose my mouse all the damn time? I need to increase the size of my cursor or something there. So again, Jim, if you will shoot me an email at the address in the description, it's also written below. Include your YouTube name if it's different from your real name, and I don't know that it will be, but if it is, by the way, good name. Send me that and your mailing address, and we will get this shipped out to you ASAP. And Thumper Squid is in the house. And so let's pull that off there. We'll get set up for the last drawing here. Alrighty. All right, in honor of tonight's theme, just enter hashtag 500 subs in the chat to be answered. Oh, to be entered, if I could talk. Hey, Fret Burner, thanks for dropping by. Guy 88, thanks for the kind words. So I'm going to take this off the screen. Actually, I don't have to take it completely off, do I? I can do one of these. Oh, no, I'm taking it off for a second. All right, so this is kind of our grand prize for the night. So again, enter hashtag 500 subs. So this is the collected, it's called, let's see, what is it called here? The Absolute Green Arrow by Kevin Smith, Phil Hester, and Andy Parks. So you can see this Mama Jamma hardbound edition. This is brand new. It is open, and I'll show you why it's open in a minute. But this is brand new, unread. This retails $100-ish, I believe. And if you've not read this, it is pretty great stuff. If you're a DC fan, this is a good storyline and great stuff in this story. Take it out here for a minute. And so again, this one is going to be signed, but this time it is got an original sketch on there by Andy Parks, of course, featuring Green Arrow. This is the only part that's ever been opened on this, is just open up so he could draw that on there. And so you guys can see this. So again, the Absolute Green Arrow from Kevin Smith's run with Phil Hester and Andy Parks. And I told people when I got this over, I think it was March, that unfortunately Phil was not able to be there. He was having his grandchild. His grandchild was being born, so he had a good excuse to not be included on getting that book signed. But so there you go. Like I said, it's a great story. It's a great edition. So if you are interested in getting the Absolute Green Arrow, drop 500 subs in the chat for your chance to win. And again, I really appreciate everybody who has been with me over the last 6 to 9 months, and all the new folks that have jumped on board as we talk home arcade, retro games, toys, all that fun stuff. I love doing this. It's just fun, creative outlet. It feels like week in and week out, it's just a bunch of boys hanging out, talking about the stuff we care about. It's just a ton of fun. I try to watch pretty much everybody's content. There's a lot of great streamers here in the chat. from Galaga Guy, Cornercade. I'm gonna miss some people, Evil Genius Entertainment, Papa Brad. Man, there's so many people in the chat here that do their own shows, and I know I'm skipping a bunch of you trying to think off the top of my head and scroll back through here as everybody that's jumped in tonight. But it's always a ton of fun. It seems like there's always somebody streaming. So if you find yourself bored or just wanting to hang out with people, you can almost always find somebody streaming and go hang out and shoot the shit with people that care and like the same stuff you did or you do. And it's what drew me into this community, not just the joy of home arcade and the interest in home arcade and retro games, but really the community itself. I lurked for a long time and just really had a lot of fun, watching this stuff and guys just hanging out and having a blast and, busting some balls and laughing and ideating. And so it's a ton of fun and it's a great community. And I just can't say enough about how appreciative I am to have been accepted by you guys, that you want to hang out and talk all this stuff. It's just fun to talk about for me, not just the games, but the business side of home arcade. I find that really interesting as an entrepreneur myself. I love ideating, talking about some of the legal stuff. Of course, I dropped a big, like, hour and a half long analysis of the recent lawsuit between ThinkUp and Arcade1up. If you want to check that out, it is long. It's an hour and a half, but we go through the key points in the lawsuits, in the agreement ThinkUp had with Arcade1up, as well as financials. And so while we're here, maybe we should talk financials a little bit. Let me see if I can find that real quickly. I do think it's maybe worth talking about a little bit. And of course, I didn't plan on actually talking about this, so it's not brought up and ready. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Definitely not. So dead air, the best part of any stream, right? Where did you guys go? All right, here we go. Yay. Only took like forever to find it. All right, so hopefully you guys can read that pretty well. Let me blow it up just a little more. So I definitely wanted to drop through and talk about this just a little bit before we get to into giving this last thing away. But I found this really interesting, right? So this is the sales record that Arcade1up sent ThinkUp to close out their contract with them. And you'll see here it includes sales for Q1, Q2, and what is essentially 8 of 9 weeks in Q3, maybe 7 of 9 weeks in Q3. So pretty far into the 2023 sales year, but missing the key months, right? You don't have October, November, and December, which are Q4. That's your big Christmas sales. That's when you saw the massive sales uptick of all these Arcade1up products. So if you can see here as the sales escalate, right? And this is why I think you see a lot of why we've heard nothing in the first half of this year from Arcade1up, because if you look for the first 6 months, Q1, Q1 and Q2 of 2023, their gross sales for the first 6 months, and that's gross sales, was 11.6 million, which honestly to me would seem like, about where it should have been in my mind, because I would always thought, hey, they're probably doing around 20 million a year based on some of the numbers Kokum put out. But here, 11.6 in the first 6 months. But this is what's crazy. July alone nearly doubles that in sales. So when they hit July, $9.5 million in sales in the month of July alone. And of course, what happened in July last year? That was Evo. That was the HS5 announcement. I believe it went up for pre-order at the same time. And so is that what accounts for those massive upticks in sales in July? I don't know, but you definitely see in 1 month, they basically double what they did in the first 6 months. And then you roll into August. In just the first 3 weeks of August, they do 10.4 million, eclipsing what they did the entire month of July in just 3 weeks. And so 10.5 million now also nearly doubles the first 6 months. So in the span of, what is that, 7 weeks, they've done $20 million, almost doubling what they did in the 9 weeks before that. Sorry, that's way longer than 9 weeks. That's 24 weeks before that. So in the span of those 7 weeks, they doubled what they sold in 24 weeks prior to that. Then you have the rest of August. So essentially 1 more month of sales from August to mid-August, or late August to late September, 14.7 million more on top of that. So they're ramping up quickly. So you can imagine October and November sales go even harder in the paint. They get up there and they are spiking. So I can easily see them hitting gross sales of $100 million last year. And that is just mind-numbingly massive amounts of money, right? And of course, you see here the solutions to go. I'm not exactly sure what these are. These could be maybe these are the sales of downloads in on the Affinity game table. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in the chat knows what solutions to go is. But there you see some additional sales from that. And of course, 4.5 million of that was taken. It says they're cancellations, but they still somehow got, net revenue of 4.5 million from those cancellations, whatever that is. They have solutions to go not yet sold through and not paid. So I'm guessing those are ones that, again, they added another 7.8 million of net sales on that, but pretty crazy. So as you look at that, just in that 3 quarters, essentially, they do close to $69 million in gross. And by the time you back off the markdowns, the discounts and things that they had to pay back to the retailers to lower that cost, you get net sales of $54.5 million that ultimately led into what they say ThinkUp should have got from them. And of course, there's some additional markdowns from that 5.4 million. You have the Kokum markdowns for the year prior. So in 2022, there were 3 millions of markdowns that they had to give back to Kokum. The Kokum buyback, so these are returns and broken ones, I assume, was $500,000. And then other markouts, close downs, co-ops, another 5 million, which reduces what would have ultimately been owed to ThinkUp by about $250,000, meaning Arcade1up still owed ThinkUp $1 million in commissions throughout the year for those 3 quarters. But still, you can see exactly how much Arcade1up is having to give back from discounts. And while, essentially $8.5 million is a sizable amount, it's 10% of their gross sales. So it's not, or it's a little more than 10%, probably 12% of their gross sales. But it is staggering to me how much revenue Arcade1up is doing throughout the year. And if this is, like I said, if this is closer to 100 million, which I suspect it was, I can't even imagine why they're having financial trouble unless they are just completely inept. Of course, we don't know. You can't tell from gross or net sales numbers what licenses cost, because that's not part of the ThinkUp discussion. ThinkUp doesn't have to contribute to that. They're straight off the top in their royalty. We don't know what the manufacturing costs are. They're not included in those sales numbers. So even though the number could be upwards of 100 million in gross sales, if Arcade1up is spending, by the time you get to net sales of 54, let's call it 75 on the whole amount of the whole estimate of 100, if they're spending 76, they're going nowhere. And we just can't tell that from these numbers. So keep that in mind. But still, it's a staggering amount of revenue. And if they're doing that much revenue and still not making a hefty profit, something is seriously, seriously wrong. And MG says 80 million in costs. Like I said, if they're still losing money with that much revenue, boy, there's got to be some major mismanagement going on. Who knows what debt they owe and how much they're paying to service the debt? I think we've heard numbers thrown around that they borrowed 20 or got a 20, but who knows? It could be way higher. Maybe they're paying a royalty back to their investors. So, that's a common tactic. And when an investor just gives you money, or even when they loan you money, not only do they want X interest rate to be repaid, not only do they want equity in the company, but they may want a royalty on top of that. Say, if ThinkUp's giving 3%, maybe the investor wanted 5 or 10%. The more of that stuff they did, the more their costs add up, which would put strain on the business, right? And so clearly, despite all that revenue, they don't have the cash flow and the money to get through, for whatever reason, right? That's why they claim Scott left the company. That's why, or, left. Of course, they say he left, but we all know he was likely forced to resign. Of course, we don't know that for a fact, so just ideating there. And Danny says he sent an email, so let me check here. Talk amongst yourselves. Topic: the Civil War is neither civil nor war. Alrighty, and of course, somebody's being 4th of July. Somebody's setting off explosives outside the house. I just keep hearing bombs going off out there. So I doubt you guys can hear it. I don't know if the mic's picking it up or not, but that's fun to hear every few minutes. Is just these large explosions going off. Green 50 says arcades suck it up. So MK Kid says he is shocked. Says, I don't think they're dead. I was wrong. They're just dead to the arcade community, and they now may pivot. That's exactly what I think a lot of us assume, right? They're not going to cater to us anymore. Between the ThinkUp lawsuit and ThinkUp saying they own all their IP, they own the brand, they own the designs, they own pretty much about everything that Arcade1up is. Arcade1up has to pivot some way, right? And so a lot of people think that maybe explains the casino-cade, because nowhere in the lawsuit does ThinkUp take credit for the casino-cade, but they take credit for all the other Arcade1up cabs and brands. They take credit for the Infinity Game Table, Infinity Game Board, and a third version that's like 24 inches. So they designed 3 different ones. So the lawsuit is terrible. They don't have a leg to stand on, in my opinion. But the the underlying truth is there that ThinkUp as a contractor likely has a legitimate claim over the intellectual property, which could be a bigger problem for Arcade1up, in my opinion. But that's stuff for lawyers to figure out, because clearly I'm no lawyer, but I do play one on YouTube. And that is why we get Slim Katie rehashes from here on out. Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say that it's highly unlikely that ThinkUp could lay claim to the Namco design or the HS5 design, even scaled down. It's pretty clear that is, I forget the exact words when it comes to trademark and copyright, but basically, if anybody could come up with it, you're not allowed to actually trademark something like that. Where they could trademark is the assembly of said cab. So their designs for how to flat pack it, where to split it, where to put the screws and things like that they could definitely get some sort of design patent around if they don't have it already. But again, anybody could come back in and move some of those things around, use different fasteners, and even then, clearly those are common in IKEA furniture. So you could probably even use the same kind of fasteners and get away with it. So I think when you talk about the cab designs themselves, anybody could do that. And so would Arcade1up really need to shift to a whole new design to get away from ThinkUp's, designs around the cabs? I don't think so. I think maybe the shark fin design, right? Because that is fairly unique to them. But these ones that are more replica, I don't think they could touch that with a 10-foot pole. I think, anybody could come along and make a cab that's inspired by the real layout, and the real design. So, I don't know how much truth there is to the reason we got the Slim Katie NBA Jam related to the lawsuit, but it's certainly a theory. I think it's more likely cost cutting. They heard the community say they've got no more room for cabs. That was the big theme last year, right? Oh, I've got no more room for these things. And, there was a lot of talk about the four-player, decks taking up too much room. And it looks like we have a ghost in the background. An empty, look at that. He's got his little...
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah. Tim Tebow, yo,
what's going on? Yeah, Tim, hold on a second. All right, hold on. I'm sitting in bed. First of all, excellent stream, my guy. Just got home, changed, went right to bed, kind of thing. Of course, cracked open one of these guys, if you don't already know. And I'm listening to the stream here, and I'm like, hold on a second. We're talking Arcade1up. Let's fucking go, guys. We're back, baby. Yeah. Okay, so real talk. Let's just back up the bus, James. Are you able to put those financial statements back on the screen?
Yeah.
Help a guy like me, because again, I consider myself a hardcore casual. Shotgun Sean, it's okay, man. We'll send you the invite. You can come on too. We'll do a little three-way dance here, triple threat match, and we'll have some fun here.
Well, apparently I closed the financials, so let me open them back up again.
That's okay. Well, you're doing your thing. Let me just try to break this down, guys. I literally just ran into the room. I was literally so comfy, and okay. So this is interesting here. So I just wanted to get this out here. Let's see.
Yeah, feel free to shoot that link to Sean if he wants to jump on and talk.
Yeah, Sean,
money.
Go, dude. Shotgun is in the house.
And while he's doing that, don't forget, enter 500 subs, hashtag 500 subs. Chance to win this mammoth.
That beauty.
Absolute green arrow. This thing weighs a ton. It is super high quality. So,
MG, I'm not a financial expert. Actually, this is James Hates Everything's wheelhouse. So this is something that I mentioned on Retro Gaming Guy's show last night that I was a part of. James is kind of like, you like this stuff. This is your wheelhouse. I can just feel it. And it's great. It's great. We need somebody like this because between me and you, like I just want to get the games, want to get the form factors. I'm like super fan. I know what the community wants, and kind of what I want, and so just hearing the feedback from everything. We want the light up coin doors. We want the real buttons. We want the 2-player control deck. So it's a good mix and vibe to have that. So like this to me, and I'm no math major here, just it's a lot. It's just like, what is this? So and I just wanted to break it down. I know somebody in the chat said, hey, I wanted to see like was this last year's numbers or this year's numbers?
So this is 2023's up through 9/21, so September 21st of last year. So this is,
and that's yep.
Yeah,
and
so
then
they severed, as you know, right? That's in July of 2023 is when Scott was outed, when John D was outed, and essentially that is when Arcade1up or Tastemakers went to ThinkUp and said, hey, our deal doesn't work for us anymore. It's not financially sustainable. We want to renegotiate it. And ThinkUp told them to take a hike, that they weren't open to renegotiating the deal. And so then Arcade1up exercised their ability to terminate the contract with ThinkUp. And in August of 21, this is why the August 21 date is in there specifically and not the full month of August, because August 21 is the date that they informed ThinkUp that they were going to terminate their contract at 30 days. And so 9/21 ceases their contract with ThinkUp. And so Arcade1up or Tastemakers only owes ThinkUp royalties on sales up to that point, essentially. So that's why those dates are in there, and why they chose those dates. And that's why we only have sales information up to those dates.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's cool. So, okay, so you said around this 10 million mark here, that's when the Dynamo is out, or was it the 14 million?
So so if we're, I don't know if I can see my mouse here or not. Let me.
Yeah, there you go. I can see your mouse.
Okay, so right here, July sales, right? July is when Evo occurred. And so that's when they dropped the HS5 and put it up for pre-order on Amazon. And they dropped it, wasn't it? It was $100 off, so $399 when they announced it on Amazon. So I imagine sales went, because that's the first time they've did a cab that was like what we wanted, an arcade accurate replica, of Street Fighter Championship Edition in that cab. And so you can see the sales for the first 6 months, Q1 and Q2, right, January through June, were 11.6, and then in that 1 month they do 9.5 million.
So this is kind of like where I'm getting back again. We don't work at there. We don't know all this stuff, but
this is all guesses. All guesses based on what we do know.
Based on this information, guys. So boom, there you have it. So you're saying the right form factor could be any game at this point, but a nice form factor in the deluxe form. We'll just keep it to deluxe. Let's not trend down the XL. We could literally be here. It's till Sunday kind of thing. So, so there you go. You have it. So you're doing decent. And then boom, you just spike up because something new and exciting is here. So we've talked about this all the time. B Kong has mentioned it. 3 things that gets the community excited: sales, new games, and events, period, in the story. So there you have it. Like, it shows in the numbers. Like, if they're just numbers people or whatever, boom, right there. Like, so yeah.
That's to Jason's super chat comment.
Love you guys out there. So we'll touch on the NBA Jam here too, because we get a lot of people in the building, and I want to kind of give, we have 2 different perspectives on it, but like, just talking about the numbers real quick. So you get into like that Dynamo. Okay, that's cool. Like, now what else can we put in there? What else? Like think about it. Even like something as simple as a Smash TV Robotron, like in that right form factor, like cab shape, would do these types of numbers. And Cuber, same kind of thing. Like, and I know people always joke around, but Sega Star Wars Trilogy would do the same thing. Like, all of this stuff, and it would probably do more, to be quite honest with you, but because we've been there and done that with the Street Fighters, it's just like, it's so done at this point. The only thing that can save Street Fighter is getting like an Alpha 3 series or Third Strike on there. I think we can all collectively agree on that. It's enough with that. But and the same thing with Mortal Kombat. Like there's really nothing that's going to save Mortal Kombat at this point unless you get an MK4 out paired with everything else. But it's the right form factor for the right game. Like and these numbers show it. And it's just like, and then when you go ahead and you change that form factor, i.e. the NBA Jam that's coming out, like what does that do now?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest like question that I had is like, oh shit, like is this gonna be the new form factor going forward? Like, am I gonna like, is this what's going on? Like,
So one of the things here, like, look, Jason did a little bit of research, right? So Solutions to Go says it's a global distribution company. So clearly not Kokum. Kokum is called out specifically elsewhere. I wonder if that's not who they use for distribution in UK. But I do not know. But so we could sit and talk about these numbers all day long. The reality is they're clearly making a shit house of revenue, but that doesn't equate to a shit house of profit as we have seen. So,
and that's the other question. Like, so you did like an hour and a half stream on this. So like at the end of the day, like just to sum it up for everybody here in the chat, myself, like what are they in good standing, or are they like completely screwed? Like they might have pulled in all this money, but if they lost twice the amount of money, like what does that matter? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean it's impossible to tell, right? So because we don't know what their costs are, we just can't be sure if they're making money or not. I think it's probably fair to say they're making money, but they're not making a lot, right? They're probably not hitting certain sales targets they're required to hit by their investors. And so that's why their investors, took control and made a change and swapped out those people. And so that's why I think you're seeing the big pivot towards the Infinity game table. It's essentially they don't really have to push sales of new ones. They just need to get people to buy more of the downloaded games. I mean, obviously they want to sell more new ones. They're clearly coming out with one with a new radio in it for whatever reason. And so, it's still way overpriced. I don't know who's buying that thing. I think you can get it on. I dropped a short video because I saw there were Arcade1ups on Alibaba. So if you are or AliExpress, not Alibaba.
We'll take that too,
Might
right?
as well be the same thing.
Yeah, honestly.
So you can get Arcade1ups on AliExpress, which kind of blew my mind, which includes the Infinity game table. So if you want to save 30% on that $1,000 monstrosity, go get it off of AliExpress. But I don't even know what the market is for that. They certainly keep pushing it, so it must be selling with people. Obviously, people that I know that bought it back in the day bought it because they wanted to play games with their kids, and I think they will all tell you while it was popular for a tiny bit, it basically went into a closet and nobody touches it anymore. So it's very gimmicky. When you can buy these board games for $10 at Target, why do you need this thing? Of course, people will say that about these arcades and ROM, when you go play ROMs.
Yeah, and I guess that the only
board
thing
games have always been tactile, right? That's the experience with a board game is having your kid move the little piece across the table, not watching an animation do it. So, it's kind of is what it is. But
yeah, so I don't, it's again, with a tape deck soon, Stringer. Stringer, let me tell you this. Hold on, put that back up there. They'll release it as soon as you get your Sega Star Wars trilogy ready. Because if you're not going to sell it to me, buddy, Ezekiel the Chicago Retro Ranger is actually going to make a real one for your boy, and that'll be insanity. So yeah, we got to.
So I'm with Pro Baller here. The only reason they're making this Slim Katie is because you bought that stupid Wheel of Fortune and put it in your background.
No, what they did was they saw what we did with the NBA Jam Deluxe, and they're like, yes. No, I'm just kidding. No, long and short, I know people are going crazy. Like, so let's get into the form factor real quick. And I know every single YouTuber is hating on this. So let's let's
Well,
be something
let me
different.
address MG here because he
Okay, go
makes a valid point about these financials. That there's a few things we should keep in mind with these financials. These financials are what ThinkUp filed as part of their lawsuit. It's what Arcade1up sent them. So there's a couple things. I think you can count on them being accurate to some extent, because if they're not, they just sent a legal document that would really get them in hot water if those numbers aren't accurate. But to MG's point, they are unaudited numbers. So here's the thing: if Arcade1up is going to lie on sales numbers for calculating ThinkUp's royalty fee, do you think they're going to lie on the positive end or the negative end? Right? Are they going to overstate their numbers, or are they going to understate their numbers? And chances are, if they were going to lie, they'd be understating those numbers so they don't have to pay as much. So if you believe that they're not being truthful about those sales numbers, then it probably means they sold even more than what they listed there. The other thing I think I would say about that is that these are only the sales for things that they would owe a royalty to Kokum on, or not Kokum, but ThinkUp. So again, if they didn't create the Casino-cade, do they owe any royalty to ThinkUp for sales of the Casino-cade? Are there other products, like, I don't know if ThinkUp doesn't mention stools. Maybe that's why they sell stools. Do they owe money on that? So you got to wonder is what other products is Tastemakers putting out there that isn't designed by ThinkUp. Now, I don't think there's probably very many, because ThinkUp, as you read in their agreement, is their chief R&D and product development arm. So chances are that they're responsible for creating pretty much everything that Tastemakers sells. Which is another point. This might not be just Arcade1up. You know, how many of these things are other products that Tastemaker sells besides just Arcade1up? We don't know that either, because it doesn't specifically say Arcade1up cabs. Now the lawsuit says that's what this is for, so that's where we get that these are Arcade1up, specifically Arcade1up sales. But you know, again, we don't have the details. All the details are missing, so it's hard to say. We can only ideate or give you our best estimate based on the information we have at hand. Again, private company, unless forced to disclose in court and with audited financial statements and records, you can only take so much for fact as to what you've seen, is all I can say, because that's the only information we have since they're a private company. So you wanted to jibber jabber about the Slim Katie.
So I'd figured this. All right. Everybody's hating on this thing, right? So I was like, okay, let's take. And when it came out, I was like, yes, a 2-player NBA Jam. Like, they might be listening. I know for a fact Arcade1up watches my streams. They're obviously under different names. I'm sure as hell they watch Michael B streams. I'm sure they watch all of you guys, but they're going to. I know for a fact they watch mine. I can almost guarantee it. Put the mortgage on it, and it could be because I'm pro 1UP. They want to hear kind of like that side of it. Who knows? I'm pro home arcade, guys. This is a fun ass hobby. We got a great community here. I mean, Jesus Christ, the last stream we did, we had $100 in super chats to mod all of the arcades, to do buttons and light up doors. Like, this community is so grateful. And I know there's some fighting going on in the chat here, but guys, like, if we work together, we can accomplish more than butting heads at the end of the day. And I'll take all the clowncade, the whatever name you want to call me. That's great. If you support me, great. If you don't, that's even better, because it still gives me attention and views and all that jazz. So it still gets the name out there, and that's what's important at the end of the day. It's working together, guys. It's all about that. So long and short, I saw the 2-player deck, and I'm like, yes, they're listening. Okay, they're putting this into production. Now, I can guarantee you, at the end of the day, if this same form factor came out with, like, a Turtles, a Simpsons, we would be a little bit more interested. NBA Jam is a little awkward, and I think it's showing to where their licensors are, like where everything is. So right now, you probably could mention that they're not on good standings with Konami or Capcom or whoever the case is. They kind of broke it down, James, and it's like, okay, Midway, that's the only, like, what I mean, besides Blitz, you're looking at NBA Jam as kind of being like that one that came out. I mean, it just came out last year. So, long and short, I'm like, okay, cool. But then you look at the cabinet. Do you have a picture of the cabinet while we're talking to me? I know everybody's seen
I do.
it, but
I think everybody's kind of beaten that thing to death. So everybody's kind of seen it. So just in 30 seconds or less, why do you think it's a good idea?
so I think for people who don't have a lot of space, not everybody has a CT Jason basement that they can put 75 of these things in. My only concern is what P-Dubs brought up is that this thing's 20 pounds lighter, and these things were already light to begin with. So even squishing them against the wall and pressed in against each other, I just don't know if that's going to be a lot of support to stop that thing from wiggling and jiggling all over the place. But at the end of the day, everybody shat on the casino gate, but yet everybody had fun on the stream. So I want you guys to remember that. Don't knock it until you try it.
Yeah. So the thing I will say, it was fun on the stream because it was more playing Wheel of Fortune. So there are many ways we could have done that, right? Like Jackbox Games has a lot of fun interactive games and stuff. I will say, if it was just one person and the casino cade, I don't think it would be near as fun as what it was having the audience compete against your wife, right? So
yeah,
that was
part
the
of that
fun
is
of
us,
it, right?
Yeah, part of that is us.
There are a
People tune
million
in because
ways to just play Wheel of Fortune and guess the
100%,
puzzle,
100%,
So
there's even better ways because you can put an HDMI on the screen or not having a camera
Yep.
point at it with like light glare and everything like that. But yeah, I think I was a little. And guys, the bigger concern here, don't think about the depth of the cabinet because that doesn't matter. When all of these are pushed together, you can't see the depths. The MVSX is not even 13 inches deep. Like, so that thing's a skinny mini. That's even smaller than that. So
my thing with the depth is if you're going to line it up with your other arcades, it's going to be really likely to tip backwards rather than forwards, right? So as you push that control deck, it's going to go whoop and fall back against the wall. So
yeah, again,
not. You're going to have to be really strategic around where to put it. And besides, all of us likely already have an NBA Jam and don't really care anyway. So to me, I think this will sell. Like I said, I've said before, I think it's going to sell well because you're going to get casuals that aren't Arcade1up fans that are going to buy this for the first time and not know any different because they're not home arcade people. I also promised my wife I would end the stream at a decent time. So we're coming up on an hour and a half. And again, I appreciate literally everybody who joined us tonight, for celebrating the 500 subs. And so this is your last chance to jump in on this giveaway for the absolute green arrow. So 45 of you are in there. I'm going to count down to 5, and then we're going to give this a spin. So if you haven't, get in there, type hashtag 500 subs in the chat. Appreciate that, Carlo. Everybody else, C-Mart, everybody who's dropped by, can't thank you enough. And let's give this thing a whirl in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Oh, dude, who's it gonna be? Let's go. Is it me? Nope.
Carlo! Oh, wow. Bang, bang, Carlo. There you go. Congratulations, Carl. Oh, make sure you email me. My address is in the description. Of course, include your YouTube name and your mailing address, and we will get this shipped out.
I think I could say that's a well-deserved winner right there.
Carlo does a bunch for this community, so congratulations. What did he win? He doesn't even know what he won.
Make it bigger, James. Let's sub this out.
It is not a new car.
It's not the casino cade.
No. So it is absolute green arrow. It's the collected Kevin Smith run on Green Arrow with art by Phil Hester and Andy Parks. And then it is signed by Andy Parks with as I can get the camera here, with a sketch on the inside. So I had Andy sign this. I do have, I believe I have somewhere video footage of him signing it. If you want that, I can probably get that to you. If not, he's a buddy of mine, so I can have him send something that says he signed it. But so that is what you won, Carl O. Congratulations. Again, so I think I'm probably going to wrap up here. Let me get back to this view. You're in the Shilluminati Lodge room, as you can see. So
Who else is part of this room? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Apparently, everybody, from what I heard on the internets over the weekend. But
what happened, guys? What happened? And MK Kid, I would probably get a Blitz 2 player. Yeah, why not? I mean, mine's probably better that I made, but it would be riserless. So there you go.
So before I sign off, and Jason, again, appreciate you dropping by. What's this? Jason says you have one more giveaway. I do.
Yeah, you didn't know that? It's behind you, bro. You gotta give that away. Whatever, what is that gold statue? Is that real or no? Oh, look, he's reading a text message. Hold on. Oh, look at. He's concentrating. He's focusing hard.
Sorry, I was just reading a different email.
What is that? What is that gold statue behind you?
That's Thanos. This one?
Yeah, let's give away that.
Yeah, let's not say we did.
How much was that? Just out of curiosity.
It's a little over $700. So.
I knew it. Let's go. Maybe we're back in the business. Hey, if you sell that, you can get an Arcade1up 2-player NBA.
So I have a giant 1/6 scale Jabba the Hutt and throne room over on the other side of the room. That thing is just ginormous. Like, it's so big you can't put it on shelves. Like, that's one I think, at the time it was like $800, and I think they're going close to $2,000 or $3,000 now. So that's one I'm actually thinking about getting rid of, because it's too big. Why
not?
It's there's nowhere to put it. And so it takes up, I have a table over there for playing board games and stuff on, but it takes up the whole damn table. So it's like you can't really do anything on it.
You gotta do a room tour.
Yeah, I will. I did one before, like around New Year's, but it was long, because I think I'm going to have to break it up into, like, here's toys, here's retro video games, and here's the Arcade1up stuff, because there's just too much to show in one quick video. Otherwise, it's just way too long. But so I'm going to wrap it up here. And again, I thank everybody for joining us. And Danny for jumping on at the end. I always find, I know people, think whatever, but I always find it's more fun to have somebody else on to bounce discussion off of. I really like a podcast format more than just me talking into thin air, which was why I like talking to all you in chat. But I love having people on for that, back and forth and that discussion. So
we'll have to do more.
I'm going to keep doing those things, right? Because it's fun.
I know you gotta go, and the chat is what keeps everything alive. So thank you guys always for supporting. But yeah, we'll have to do more. I'll have to have you on my show, because we want to talk about this NBA Jam. I know it's been beat to death, but guys, we can hear a different side of the story. We all can easily just rib on everything. It sucks. Get it out of here. Blah 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 blah. But
so next stop is 1,000 subs. And I was gonna come on here and say, hey, if you guys got me to 1,000 subs tonight, I'll give away an Arcade1up cabinet. But know that wasn't really reality. But definitely thinking about that big 1,000 giveaway. I'm definitely going to do something special for that. That's to me the big milestone. I appreciate hitting 500. I'm super thankful for everybody, and it's just like I said, it's one small step towards bigger and better things. I'm learning more, as I do these videos. The produced videos, I'm trying to get better every time I do one, add a little more production value, get better at my editing. So trying to step it up slowly. One day, I hope to be as good as Evil Genius Entertainment's presentation style. If you guys don't watch him, you should. He is he could be anchoring the news. Like, he is so good at how he just introduces and talks through his videos. Sounds super professional. Great stuff. I really admire how he does his videos. So check him out if you haven't seen it. Really good stuff. We just got to somehow get somebody to bring him good internet out there so he can actually do some live streaming.
Hey, it's coming, man. He told me he's buying Starlink, so he's gonna be
gotta
connected in space. There's no excuse now. There's no excuse now. Or go time now, baby.
I know a few streamers that use Starlink. It works. It's not the greatest in the world, but it does work much better than I'm sure what you have right now. So Starlink is a great invention. And,
I wonder if he's been on any
so
other shows, because I had him on like twice.
Yeah,
but it was real rough. But like I don't know if anybody else has had him on, because I mean he's got some cool things to bounce off of for sure.
Yep. And so I'm gonna leave everybody the way we started, with one last glimpse of this fun little animation, and it may just be the last time I ever show it on channel. So I'm gonna pull us off and then leave you with our fun little cartoon. And then again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. And without further ado,
Spike? You want it, huh? Nah, you wouldn't like that, would you, Spike? Hey, Spike, how about we chase cars, huh? Does that sound like fun? Nah. Yeah, that wouldn't be no fun. How about beating up a cat? Would you like that, Spike? Huh? Would you like that, huh, Spike?
Cat? You know where is it a cat?
Yeah, sure, Spike, sure. I know where's it a cat. Oh, boy, we're gonna have fun beating up a cat, ain't we, Spike?
Charleston, made in Carolina. Some dance, some prance, I'll say there's nothing finer than a Charleston. Lord, how you can shuffle. Every step you do leads to something new. Man, I'm telling you, it's a lot to do. Buck dance, swing dance. We'll be back.